It's not an issue.
No, everything. No, we're trying to
put together a function I'm charged by the ton, so we're already at 4,000 or 5,000. I don't know if that's a computer tax. Getting back.
Good evening. Today is Tuesday, December 15th. Happy Tax Day, you all you taxpayers out there. This is a regular meeting of the City of Trinidad City Council. I ask that you please refrain from speaking amongst yourself loudly and to silence your cell phones, please. We have a proclamation for Arbor Day, April 25th, 2025. But before that, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start the official meeting, thanks, Ken. Before we start the official meeting, there's a proclamation to be read. Arbor Day, April 25th, 2025. Proclamation, Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable source, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in the city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, beautify our community, and wherever they are planted are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Karen Grego, Mayor of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, on behalf of the entire Trinidad City Council, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the City of Trinidad, and urge all citizens to plant and care for trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations, and further urge citizens to participate in local Arbor Day activities. Signed, Karen Grego, on this date, April 15th, 2025. And Ms. Garrett will present that to Karen Wolf.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the regular agenda. Item 1 is roll call.
DeBono,
Here.
Shu,
Here.
Thurman,
Here.
Trahell,
Here.
Ogletree. Here. Williamson.
Here, present.
Grego.
Okay. Did you call me?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Grego.
I didn't hear you. Item number 2, approval of the agenda. Does anybody have any corrections? Corrections or additions of the agenda? I need a motion to approve the agenda as listed.
So move.
Mr. Shu moved. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll give it to Mr. Thurman. Call the vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Ogletree. Yes. Williamson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you
there it
give a
goes.
thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
All right,
And Grego.
Sign language.
yes. Item number 3, policy items and staff reports. Do we have anything?
Mayor, Public Works Director Bob just has a short project update and one item relative to a project report.
Okay.
Good morning, Mayor, members of council.
Well, good afternoon.
Afternoon. Good morning, good afternoon. I get my days all mixed up. so.
That's okay.
Anyway, this project is the Saddle Road Sewer Project. And we're basically at the point where the contractor's back in, recompacting the trench, and we're getting ready to pave it. And we had a thought about overlaying the entire road instead of just patching it. And it just wasn't able to work out, but we further thought process on it. We decided that if we remove the asphalt between the trench and the adjacent curb and gutter, because we do have quite a bit of curb and gutter that's adjacent to it, and it varies from width from about 3 feet to 11 feet. And then the new patch would go in and be 2 inches lower than the curb edge, then we could overlay it in the future. So we're looking ahead, thinking, you know, that road's in bad shape, we need to get it overlaid. So what we're gonna do is we have a change order, it amounts to $44,000, but we're using the unit prices that Western Civil had on that project, and that the city will, that will be paid out of our capital project, street improvement, citywide paving fund. We have approximately $1 million in there, so we're gonna use this $44,000 out of that $1 million, just to give you a heads up. So anyway, just we're trying to be more transparent to let you guys know what's going on. But in the future, and we're looking, we gotta do some ADA improvements, and then maybe next year we can come in and do an overlay. And because that, whenever we do any type of street improvements, you gotta make sure that the ADA correspondence or the sidewalks that's adjacent is compliant. And as you know, going up Saddle Road, there is no sidewalk. So we're gonna have a sidewalk there. We're trying to do that project this summer. And then once the new trail comes in, ties on at Santa Fe Trail, they can turn and go back in. And we're still thinking about trying to get the Garfield project going in as well this year too. So, and that project will have a sidewalk on the west side that would carry down. So it would almost make a loop eventually. That's the intent anyway. Just to let you know, tomorrow at 1:30, we have a pre-bid for LEA. The following Wednesday, the 23rd, at 1:30, we open bids for LEA. So we're this close to getting LEA, having a contract, hopefully, keep our fingers crossed, get a contract on board. Thursday, we have a bid opening for the police department landscaping project. So that's those slopes that are on the north edge and the upper, I guess it would be the east slope, that we're gonna come in and rip wrap that, landscape it. It's basically decorative rock is what we're doing. And we are adding a couple trees because, like you said, today's Arbor Day. So anyway, Thursday at 3 p.m., we have the bid opening for the pickleball. So just to kind of give you guys an update where we're at on these projects. The guys in my office have been slammed, but anyway, there'll be a lot going on when all these projects hit construction, so. Any questions?
Questions?
No questions, thanks for all your hard work.
You bet.
Anybody?
Go ahead. Are you gonna, there are a bunch of other places up there in Allendale besides where they tore it up on Saddle Road. Are you gonna fix those? Fill them in, because up where, on the top of the hill there where Saponte lives, around the corner there, and where Escobel is, you can almost lose your car in a hole there. It's
Okay.
been that way for years when they did the water line.
Sure.
And a lot of those places need to be fixed other than, I mean, what you're doing there, which is a good idea. But that whole radio road needs to be replaced.
So you're talking upper Espinosa, is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
on the upper end, and in front of my neighbor's house, she can't, her car just bangs every time it goes in her driveway. And if you can, she went there a couple of years ago, right next to where you own the place.
Sure. We'll
If you would
look
please,
into that.
I mean, I really appreciate it, because those roads up there are getting really bad.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a paving project when the hopefully early summer. One of the projects is Garrett Drive. We replaced a big section of water line over the years, a year ago, with some patches. We're gonna go in and overlay that, and we're kind of missing the ADA on that. There's no sidewalks in that subdivision. So we're trying to, like I say, get ahead of the game. As we get these these cuts in and sidewalk in, then we can go back in and fix up these streets and whatnot. That's why we have to do a section on Saddle and a portion of County Road.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
you bet.
I just wanted to make sure I understood, the $44,000 change order is to do the patch? Is that what it's?
Yeah, the patch, it increased in size. It's 560 square yards additional above and beyond. We had a 3-foot patch, and it was basically running approximately 3 feet to 11 feet adjacent to the existing curb and gutter. But as you turn and go down County Road, it's been overlaid so many times that asphalt is 4 inches higher than the lip. So if we went in and patched it the way it was right now and then overlaid it, now that lip has come to 6 inches. So we're gonna actually remove that asphalt, and we're gonna bring our new patch in 2 inches below the concrete. So when we overlay it, it'll match in perfect with the lip. That's the intent.
Thank you.
You bet.
All righty, Mr. Just, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
No other policies or staff reports?
No.
Okay. Item 4, petitions and communications, oral or written. This is the time for you to come and speak on any issue or any general question or matter that you feel is germane to our meeting. Would you please limit, especially, do we have a lot? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm asking you please to limit to 5 minutes per. Mr. Downs is our timekeeper. He will give you a signal when you're up, 1 minute up. Give your
Statement.
Thank you. If you would give your statement and make it less than 5, it would really be appreciated, because there's at least an hour of public comments here. So I appreciate any consideration. First speaker is Jesus Gonzalez. He wants to speak on a camping ban.
Go.
Members of City Council, thank you for allowing me to speak today. I want to come before you. I am in favor of the camping ban. As a business owner on Commercial Street, I can tell you that what we have is we have a really dangerous situation that's happening. That's really has been escalating within this year, especially. I can tell you that of being in business for 7 years on Commercial in Cedar, going on my 8th year, that things have dramatically escalated with the amount of transients that we have, and the amount of the unhealth situation that we have has really kind of exploded to a fever pitch. And my employees aren't safe, my business aren't safe. I'm losing business within my Airbnb customers who don't feel safe as they're coming to stay in for the evening. I actually just lost a 4-day stay, which cost me about $500. And these are the people who come to Trinidad. This is a gentleman who came to Trinidad about 7 years ago, and he was passing back through from New Orleans, and was really excited to come back. He'd done some research on the town and seen all the beautiful things that we've done, and he couldn't feel safe parking his truck underneath my business for the days that he was going to be spending here on the business that he had while he was here. And that's a very, very small picture from one customer who I actually got to communicate with. But there are so many other customers that I don't get to communicate with and I don't get to see, because they do drive in, they do see the situation they have. They do, right when they come off the highway, to be able to look over to your right-hand side and look into our Riverwalk and to see these tents that are there. It doesn't leave people with a very safe feeling, even to, we've got such a beautiful Riverwalk that so much money has been spent on to redo, to light up at night, to clean up, to all those invasive species has been taken off the river, all that hard work that's been done, and we can't go and enjoy it. And I can't, within good conscience as a business owner, when somebody comes to town, hey, what's to do here in town? I can't tell them, hey, let's go, why don't you go take a walk on the river? Because it's a dangerous place. It's a dangerous place because of the people who are camping there. It's a dangerous place because nothing is done. It's a revolving door for them. And I think that the camping ban is a start. Is a start of a very, very terrible situation that some people are in. But at what point do us business owners have the ability to do anything about it? I've had 17 call for services, which I called the police officers to come to my business for assistance in the past 2 months alone. My wife has walked in on somebody upstairs into our Airbnb who had broken into the door and was staying in one of the rooms. I come to our business, I go upstairs. He comes out of the door with a knife in his hand. These are some of the just dangerous situations that are happening on a day-to-day basis on Commercial and Cedar Street.
1 minute, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
I applaud you on even bringing up the camping ban, but I'd like you to move forward in the thought of being able to give our police officers some teeth to be able to fight back for our businesses, for our tax dollars that are here. And it's not just my restaurant, I pay a hotel lodging tax through my Airbnbs as well, and fight for the tourism of what little that we have left in this community. We've lost so much business, so much of our oil and gas industry. Tourism is what we have to hang our hat on right now to move forward with. Thank you for your time, friends.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
David Babick also wants to speak on the camping ban and the homeless, I believe.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I appreciate the opportunity As well, I have a business down on Cedar Street. Just in the last month, I've had my contractor who was working on my porch threaten Jim Duran. A homeless man went up to him, said, "Give me your money, old man," while he was sitting in his truck. I, last week, ended up calling the police myself as I got out of my work van doing jobs. A homeless man ran down the street straight at me with a stick with a mask on. And I asked, he was looking at me, and I was looking back. He said, "What are you looking at?" And I said, "I don't know, you have a mask on," and he threatened to kill me. At that point, I called the police. It took 11 minutes to get an officer out at the site. I also feel that things are gonna get worse as time goes on. I don't see improvements. The last 2-3 years, it's been so dramatic that I now carry when I go to work. When I go to work at nighttime, I could hear bonfires, partying going on, all hours of the night. You know, it's just at this point, I feel like somebody is going to be hurt, and it is affecting businesses. I know some of my customers don't want to show up and talk business in my office. And the main reason is because they do feel threatened when they go down to that part of the city. You know, I have a heart for the homeless, but I feel like we're encouraging more of it, and I don't really think they're in the mood to change. And I see the problem the last year just getting out of control. At this point, you know, I had really major thoughts about why did I even move back to this community. I feel like it was safer in Denver in '98 walking the streets than I feel safe walking Trinidad at this point. And I hope that something changes. Like Jay said, I hope we do give the police some teeth and something where they could go after them and actually do something and actually enforce some ordinances instead of just look the other way, essentially is how I feel. And, you know, I just, when we start feeding the homeless every day at the park, it's just a magnet for more. When I go out of town, I travel a lot. You could just go 60 miles over the hill and go to Raton, and it's a drastic difference from this community. And we're talking 60 miles. I go to Pagosa, I don't find one homeless person down in their river bottom. I also own the building right there behind Lucky Monkey, and when I would look over the wall right there, there's nothing but human feces down in the water area. So, I mean, you can't send your kid down to play in the river. I don't see how, you know, how we could even attract tourism. And I did, you know, a couple years back, I had somebody who stopped in to go walk the river walk. And she came into my office because she said somebody was overdosing down by the water treatment, the old waterworks building. And these are people that are coming in from out of town. And again, we have a beautiful community, but what they see is filth, drugs, crime, and you know, women carrying big old Bowie knives. And just last week, a lady was carrying like an 8-inch knife walking down the street. And other communities, I think they would have been surrounded by police. Here it's, well, she's not doing anything. So I feel like we need to do something with these laws, and we need to do something about it, or we're not gonna have anybody show up in this town.
1 minute, sir.
I really appreciate your time, and I hope to see a change in the near future. And stay safe out there.
Thank you.
Is it Tamara or Tamara?
It's Tamara.
Gonzalez?
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi.
I'm just here to speak. Being in hospitality, being a bartender and server, waiting on our tourists since September. I'm a Trinidad native. I returned back in September and was very amazed by how Trinidad has changed. It's totally beautiful. It's not how I left it when I was 19 years old. But through the months, I have listened to the tourists from Texas to Louisiana to Mississippi to Missouri saying that they're going to start going to recreational marijuana over in Raton because they feel safer. And I feel like that's affecting my pocket as a waitress, bartender, and also coming out at 10, 11 o'clock at night, which a lot of people aren't in Trinidad, like not a lot of movement. I'm out there because I'm working and cleaning up, where I've been approached and almost grabbed, where I pulled out mace. I'm very kind of strong for a girl, but I have mace. I'm gonna get a taser. I don't want to get a gun because I don't feel safe. Like I feel like I'll hurt myself with a gun, but it's almost to that point. But I'm concerned about the tourism from hearing it daily on a daily basis. When Texas loves us, Texas loves Trinidad, and they're starting to get very discouraged because people are in Safeway parking lot. Going to Safeway, you can't get a shopping cart anymore because they're all in the town, and people are complaining nonstop. Like they were fighting in Safeway for shopping carts a couple days ago when we were getting that snowstorm. And like I said, I'm very happy how Trinidad looks. Like it's not the same Trinidad where I left it, and it's come to do amazing. Like you guys have done amazing things with it, and I would just hate to see that thrown away. My other concern is just fires. I've seen them burning big bonfires, and the wind in Trinidad's horrific. Like I don't want to end up like California, like our beautiful state burning down because of some things. And also we had my boss's 9-year-old son come in with a crack pipe, which was used to smoke fentanyl, and he didn't know what it was. He said, "What is this?" And it had a pusher in it with a Brillo. Like we smacked it right out of his hands because that could kill somebody, even going through their skin. I was in dental for 22 years. I'm not medical, but I know that could do some harm to kids. So just and the needles laying around, it's just concerning for our tourists, which I'm hearing nonstop. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tamara. Danielle Roll wants to speak on the camping ban as well.
So today at noon, I decided to write a letter to you guys again. And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn it into a petition. So at noon today, I started this. And I wrote this letter, and I started going around to all the business owners, citizens, and from noon until 5:15, I got 157 signatures from our business owners and citizens that live in Trinidad. If you'd like me to read the letter, I can read it.
If we can not, I would appreciate it, but it's basically against...
It's in support of the camping ban, and again, it's stressing the compassion for other humans, and that this is the first step in getting something going to stop, like everybody else has said. And it's a very compassionate letter, it's a very respectful letter, and I said that we need to have a private, not only you guys in public, but privately, we need to have outreach services for people. And in my thoughts, and when I wrote this letter, is I said, by passing this camping ban, it can be a good spot for our officers to direct people to the services that they desperately need, whether it be mental health, whether it be a transitional home of some sort, whether it be drug rehab. I mean, the services are out there. People just need to be directed to them, and they have to be willing to accept them. So I from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys for putting this out there. I hope you vote for it. And there's 157 people
here. Would you give it to us so we can put it in the record?
I didn't copy it, so if I could come tomorrow.
Could you make a copy of it? Do you want your copy back?
Just,
Sure.
I would. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to see it before I pass it to you? Next speaker is David Queen. He wants to talk about community service. Mr. Queen is the manager of our Walmart, and he's been very gracious many times to assist with anything the city projects or anything we have going on. So you take it away, Mr. Quinn.
All right. Public speaking is not new to me, so good evening, members of council, Madam Mayor, and fellow members of the Trinidad community. My name is David Queen, and I have had the honor of managing the local Walmart here in Trinidad for nearly 3 years. From the beginning, one of my personal goals and professional goals have been to make our store a true partner of the community, not just a place to shop, but a place that contributes to the well-being and pride of Trinidad. After speaking to Madam Mayor and Kim Lopez, I was encouraged to bring an idea forward to you all, an idea rooted in service, collaboration, and community care. My team and I would like to offer our time and efforts through volunteer services. This could include anything from helping clean up trash in shared spaces, caring for areas for our community that our community holds dear, planting flowers or trees, or even starting a small community garden. Mayor Karen also suggested something I found especially meaningful, assisting with painting Main Street curbs and helping get downtown ready for Santa Fe Trail Days. This idea started with a challenge from my own leadership to find a meaningful way to connect with someone or something in our community and give back. I can't think of a better way to rise to the challenge than by working with our city leaders and residents to make Trinidad even more beautiful and inviting. My team is willing and excited to be a part of something bigger than our store, and I would like to formally ask to partner with you and collaborate on a project that benefits all of us, not just as workers or customers, but as neighbors. Together we can take pride in our own town, strengthen relationships, and make Trinidad an even better place to work, live, and thrive. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward from hearing your thoughts and hopefully getting something in motion soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Patrick Walsh, the river permitting?
Hello, members of the council, Madam Mayor, Pat Walsh. I'm the director of the Trinidad Youth Club, and we do a lot of programs down on the river. And I know that the council is considering a permit system for the river. I would ask that you look at maybe some other options on that, because we're partnering with Purgatory River Partnership. We also partner with many other community organizations to get the kids down there to learn and educate, and I just wanted to speak on that river permit system, that we look at some other options before we do that. So, I'm under my 5 minutes.
You are. Thank you.
Howard Lackey wants to talk about the river.
Yes, Les, there's still fish in the river.
Yeah, good.
Good evening, how's everybody doing? Beautiful tax day. Have such a thing? I'm glad you talked about trees. I would just like to commend the council and Councilman Williamson on pushing this no camping ban forward. It's something that's long overdue. I know we have one in place, and basically the problem with it was never enforced. So I'm hoping that with this camping ban, we can now get a program together with the city for enforcement, because enforcement is going to be the key to the whole thing. You can have all the laws you want in the world, but if they're not enforced, they're no good. So, and with that enforcement, the council and the city need to start looking at a place for these people to go. We've got a homeless or a houseless coordinator in town now. This is part of what she's talking about. We've talked about it for a number of years. Other communities have done it, and I think there's success that could be happened. We just got to say, look, we're going to do it, and get out there and do it. Because if you've got a place for them to go, and they refuse, then they can't be in Trinidad. That's just the way the law works these days. So we really need to start looking at that as a possibility. Put limits on it, find out who they are, all the things they need to do to make it a safe place for them and a safe place for the community, because we've got a lot of people that are very concerned about it, as we all have been for a lot of years. So it's very, very important that we get this done and get it done quickly. And the last thing, then I'll leave, so I won't take up too much more time. Another 10 minutes, is that all right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. River access permits. All right, it's a good idea. But the only thing that I would be concerned about is there's a section in there about work in and on the Purgatory River. And as you all know, Purgatory Watershed Partnership, the Conservancy District, Corps of Engineers, we have all been working in the river corridor for the last 10, 12 years to get it to the point that it is now with habitat improvements, invasive species,
access stuff. So one of the things I want to make sure that we don't mess up is the fact that we have monies in grants ready to go on projects that are designated for the river. Recreational, habitat, fish fish ladders, things like that are going to help the Conservancy District, it's going to help the city, it's going to help everybody involved. So I would ask the city to make sure that before any of this stuff goes, that you start visiting with the people that have been doing this stuff for 15 years. And that's your irrigators, Purgatory Watershed Partnership, Corps of Engineers, you know, all the people, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, everybody that's involved. We all need to be on this thing and talking about it so that nobody gets in the way of anybody else. And we can make that thing the way it is. Because we're very close on that river. And you all know what it looked like 15 years ago. We're real close. So I just would like to see it continue and get it to be the best that it can be. And thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Liz Torres wants to talk about the camping ban.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi there.
It's been a minute since
Yeah,
I've
it's
been
been a
here.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Put the microphone down.
Like way down, right? Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'll just keep this short. I don't want to repeat everything that everybody else said, but I am in complete favor of this camping ban. I've had a business downtown Trinidad for many years, and well, actually 2 businesses side by side. And over the past probably 10 years, I've experienced a lot of problems with this homelessness. Everything from having my doors kicked in, my cash registers stolen. They find them down at the river bottom, the police do. It's happened twice already. My husband has to clean up defecation poop in the back of the building all the time. It's really unfair to us. I have kindness and compassion in my heart just as much as the next person. In fact, daily, I pack up all my unsold baked goods, pack them just like I would for anybody else, and I leave them outside for them to pick up. It's just gotten out of control, and as business owners, I feel like people should have just as much kindness and compassion in their heart for us, because we've invested, we've put a lot of time, money, work, and continue to do so every day. And when we have the problems that we have, I mean, it's like if I became homeless, I couldn't set up camp behind my building. I don't think the city would allow it. And I own the property. It's just not the way it goes. I travel everywhere. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a big traveler. I tried to think of a city where there was a homeless camp in the middle of the city. There's just not. I own a place in Vero Beach, Florida. It's a pretty good sized city. I drove around everywhere. Where do the homeless people go here? How do they keep control of it? They obviously have ordinances, rules, laws, and are being enforced because it's just not there. And there's rich people there, there's poor people there, there's people of all different walks of life. So I'm not sure what they do to keep control of it. I was saying to Manny earlier, when I was on council 10 years ago, we tried to drop an ordinance, and we had the ACLU. Do you recall on that?
I do.
Before we could even get to vote on it. So I'm not quite sure whose problem it is. I mean, I don't feel like it's my problem as a business owner to house anybody. I mean, I take care of my own. I don't feel like it's the city's problem. I don't know whose problem it is, but it's definitely a problem. And I feel bad for these people. I feel bad for their situation, but I had cancer. I still got up every day and went to work, and I found a way to pay my bills. So, I mean, it can be done, but the more people just keep coming forward and handing them, food, money, clothes, and I'm guilty of that too. I give food, I leave bags of clothes outside. If something can be used, I'd rather see somebody use it. I just recently decorated for Easter. It stole half my, you know, and I'm not saying it was the homeless people. It could have been anybody. It could have been some drunk guy walking by that decided he wanted my giant egg. I don't know. But anyway, so I put another one out. That one was gone too. I mean, it's just, something's got to be done. I don't know what the answer is, but.
1 minute, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. I'm done. Anyway, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony Dees on camping ban.
The decorations were cute too.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, thank you. Yes, I have my work cut out for me. I am against pushing forward on this ban at the moment. I'm a peer support, and I work hands-on, boots on the ground in the unhoused community. I've got to know most of them on a first-name basis, many by their nicknames. The struggle is real. I'm not denying that any of this is happening. There is a drug problem, and it is a big part of probably 60% of the homeless, you know. Sorry, I'm really nervous, so I might spend half of my 5 minutes umming.
Do your thing.
Yeah, so I'm speaking from the heart here. Would you imagine going home and all the houses around you are there and yours is gone? You know, I mean, this bill, from what I read, is gonna take away shelter options, you know. I take peer support into the hospital every day, and the majority of the unhoused there are from exposure. You know, just because it's summertime, it doesn't lighten up. And by what this is going to do is displace everybody. The homeless problem is not going to go anywhere. People are still going to congregate. They're still going to meet and gather because they're a community. You know, they know each other, they're friends, family. They probably know each other better than you guys know each other. You know, connection is everything. And by displacing them, it's going to push them into abandoned buildings, into shelters in the backyard. You're going to have homeowners, you know, pulling guns, assault situations, very likely anyway. Shelter fires are probably going to grow. The police are going to have to be involved, obviously. Who has $300? You know, they just sat there and panned for a week to afford a tent so that they can stay out of the rain or the sun. And somebody came by and stole it and threw it in the dumpster like it was nothing. You know, it's just heartbreaking. I was part of the pit count, you know, where we counted the 121 individuals. And I grew up in this town. I know that the majority of them, a huge part of them, are Trinidad natives. But 100% of them are Trinidad citizens, you know. Regardless of how the majority of the business owners feel, most of, you know, where they go to buy their supplies, their basic living necessities, know them by a first name basis and are friendly with them. And they get their jar of peanut butter, their bread, they take it back to their tent, and what? We're going to come by and clear it out and throw it in a dumpster and have to start over, you know, after they work for whatever work looks like. In the last week, through my work and my outreach, I've met 4 different individuals who are living in a tent, not together. Out of those 4, 3 of them found employment. You know, I help people with their recovery. And so they found employment, but rent and everything, getting first, last months, all of this other stuff, yeah, they're striving for it, but in the meantime, they still need shelter for the night, someplace to stay dry, someplace to keep their clothes, you know, just to stay out of the elements.
1 minute, sir.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So I didn't bring a lot but I do want to give the definition of recovery. Recovery is a process of change through which individuals improve their well-being, live a self-directed life, and strive to reach their full potential. Doesn't say anything about drugs. It's simply about surviving and growing through it. And this band takes a hatchet to every letter in this sentence. You know, so the pig count, it brought to light not a shelter, but a place for them to go. In my opinion, that should come first. You know, because other than that, where are they going to go? They're going to go to abandoned shelter. They're going to go anywhere they can find for shelter. And there's going to be crime involved in that. And then the jails get loaded up. So then it's the county's problem, not the city's, right? So.
Thank you.
Julie Knudsen has multiple subjects, but Julie, you still have just 5 minutes.
I thought if I said multiple, I got like 10 minutes. Thank you, good evening. I've been burning the midnight oil lately, writing grants, so I wrote up a little thing and then my printer died today, so and bear with me as I read microfont. But hello everyone, good evening. So I'm here tonight wearing 2 hats. Number 1, I'm here wearing the hat of an unhoused coalition executive team member. And I'd like to say that I support the statement that Chelsea Meese will be presenting on behalf of our working group. She's been working very hard with our group to develop win-win solutions for our community, and I want to support her in these efforts. Number 2, I'm here as the director of the Purgatory Watershed Partnership, that hat. And I just want to make a few quick comments, food for thought, on the river access permit that you're bringing forward. I guess you're all aware that there are really only 5 groups doing work on the river. So that's PWP, Trout Unlimited, the Irrigators, Fisher's Peak Outfitters, and Brad Kirby's Inner Tube Company. And PWP and Trout Unlimited work together, so that's really just 4 doing work. And we're assuming the irrigators are exempt from this permitting process. And Brad's business, as some of you know, has had a really tough go lately, so that really means that you're putting together a permit system to regulate 2 organizations, PWP and Fisher's Peak Outfitters. And PWP already does everything by the book, and we get all of the correct permits and permissions for all of our work. And we already work really closely with a bunch of your city staff on all of our project work, especially Bob Just, Gil Ramirez, Karen Wolf, Jenny Jackson, and others. And we have never had a complaint from any of those staff. We've brought in about $3 million cash just in the last couple of years for important river project work there at the Commercial Street Bridge. So it's not like you need, and I'm not trying to be sassy, but it's not like you need to make more money off of us with permitting fees. We're bringing a lot of money in. So if this goes through, maybe we would ask for a waiver for permitting fees, because we're all working together. So I guess we are a little confused why you would need a whole new permitting system just to regulate PWP and Fisher's Peak Outfitters. But, you know, if it's been clearly shown as to why this new permitting system is so critical, then of course we're going to support it. Like, if this is being brought forth to really protect the river and our community, of course we support that. But we would at least ask that you hold a work session on this so that we can all discuss this together and develop a really meaningful permit. Because there's a million problems out there that are not being addressed by this permit system. So we feel it would be really helpful to have a work session on it so we can all work together on it. And develop something that's going to be truly meaningful and actually help the river. And then Also regarding the single-use beverage containers, this is a really tough issue because I absolutely don't want to see a bunch of single-use containers all over the river. But I do think a lot of community members are going to be sad that they can't take a can of Coke and go sit by the river. And that's what it sounds like the permit is saying. So anyways, just food for thought. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Carlos Lopez on river access.
Thank you, council, mayor, staff. Appreciate the time. I'm here to discuss the river access permitting ordinance, but also I kind of want to touch on to what people were discussing here first about the camping ordinance. Years ago, we brought forward an opportunity for permanent supportive housing, which would have been a solution so that way we wouldn't be here right now. We utilize the river for our business. We fly fish on it. And it is tough to take patrons and guests down there when they're inundated with unsightly scenes of campsites, etc. It is tough when you find, fecal matter around and access points. And that does make it challenging for us to run a tourism-related business on the river. So I can get behind this ordinance, but I do ask that you have a solution. To Tony's point, have a place for people to go. With permanent supportive housing, there was funding through the Department of Local Affairs, their Division of Housing, years ago. Now, as to whether that's still available, I don't know. We may have missed our window. But still, something has got to be looked into because it was a functioning, performing solution. They have one in Alamosa, there's one in Canyon City. They're all over, really, in Denver, too. But now I want to get back to the river access permitting ordinance that is being proposed. Right now, I can get behind a permit. I just want it done well. That's my only concern. So for instance, when I go for a permit with the Colorado Parks and Wildlife right now, I start the permitting process in January to be able to have one in March or April of the year. It takes that much time because there's a lot of red tape. And we just want to make sure that, there can be proper guidelines of violations, for instance, if something happens. So that needs to be clear and objective. How many violations are needed before revocation of a permit? What's the appeal process if something happens? And who does it go to? Now, according to the work session March 12th last month, the reference was a Fort Collins ordinance piece of policy. Well, that goes to one person. It's a director, and that director has a lot of power then over that revocation. I would recommend that City Council with a new ordinance like this be that body to be able to have a mindful discussion so it's not just behind one person. There's also, and what's given to us as permit holders, right? So with CPW, we get clean areas, clean facilities, trash cans that are emptied where they're available, and also fish are stocked in those water systems. Is that something that's going to be given to us as compensation for our permit fee? These are things that need to be discussed, and I can get behind what Ms. Knudsen said about the people that this ordinance is going to affect. We need to be brought to the table. And if this ordinance, as it stands, would only affect 2 entities, it seems like it might be for a lot for not much. But again, if it's done well, we like the permit process. It states that we have clear, expectations and boundaries. Lastly, I think this should be reviewed and approved by. I already said that. Sorry. Let's do it right. Let's implement this in 2026. Because if you put this in right now, we're just getting started with our fishing season. And then I don't know what's going to happen. Will we be able to fish here in town like we have? We help with PWP for the cleanup days. I've been able to help in the past with going down there, facilitating with our waders and boots to get people actually in the river to pull things out. We partner as much as we possibly can, but if we start doing this right now, effective immediately, it could change things for us. Not that we wouldn't continue to help in our volunteer capacity, but we just want it done well.
1 minute, sir.
Thank you. Lastly, I would ask that you wait for the new city manager to be a part of this new process. I mean, if this process was started with Steve Ruger when he was here. Why is it now taking so long to come forward, and then you're doing it with an interim city manager versus the one that's about to take the helm that's going to have to deal with this on the regular? So again, I just want to reiterate, we would like to be a part of the process. That way we can help make a good ordinance and a good permit. So that way we're all on the same page. I apologize, I'm going to have to leave now. My wife is sick with our kid at home, so I'll be watching on YouTube. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Chelsea Meese. Camping ban.
Hello, council. We learned last time that when I'm on a time limit, I talk quick and I talk loud, so I have notes. All right, so the last time I was here, we spoke about transparency and communication around this issue. To this day, I have yet to be able to find a fully published, in full, ordinance available online. And the one thing that was missed out on in the Chronicle with the brief version is that this starts to go into effect in 10 days, if you guys pass this today. So 10 days to come up with an entire solution towards what to do for over 100 individuals. So I'm here today to ask for a deferment. In our last executive team meeting with the Coalition of the Unhoused, we spoke about a potential for a work session between the city and the county. And so this would cover things such as our potential encampment location. And let's just make no mistake that until we have both of you guys, both entities together with common ground on this within this county, we will not be making any progress. Okay? So until then, we are just kicking this down the road. I love the fact that it was brought up that a permanent supportive housing measure was available before, and we're still here. And so by displacing individuals, you're upping the workload of law enforcement as well. Don't think that these people are going to pay you $300 for this. And so you're also stifling the work that I'm here to do. I would love to know all of these resources that are available for these individuals, because this is a resource desert. But it stifles the work that I'm here to do, and we have 18 months currently to do it. Okay? So let me be clear when I say that I will not be wasting any time in getting to work on this. As you've seen, I've been here since January and I've hit the ground running. I know that we can make a solution for this, but this camping ban is not it at this time. I also want to be clear in saying I'm not opposed to a camping ban in general. I want to take my dog and I want to be able to go to parks all over this state and feel safe in them. However, until we have a place for individuals to go, we are doing nothing but harm. There is no help in this solution. So therefore, I ask that you guys agree to a work session quickly, as this is only going to exacerbate the issue that's going on here. It's not going to resolve it, and we clearly want to be solutions focused in this. So I request that we delay the enforcement date. Have your moment. Put it on paper that you want this camping ban, but let us have a date that is later for enforcement to where we can come up with an actual solution. Unfortunately, my A Home for Everyone event got canceled due to that massive snowstorm. And so we weren't able to make that happen in this county. I'm hoping to form what is called a Blue Ribbon Task Force. I know that you guys got an email from Cindy Crane, a national expert on homelessness who also lives in this community, requesting such that we put this together. And so what it would do is it would bring together governmental, businesses, nonprofit agencies, and neighborhood representatives to create an actual lasting 2-year plan to take advantage of the time that we have here and to make real lasting solutions. Our goal would be to have this started in May, and it will be discussed at our next Unhoused Coalition meeting, May 1st from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Warfano County Community Center. You guys are all welcome to attend, and I hope to see you there. But the problems facing this community is complex, multifaceted, and some of the worst that I've seen. A coordinated approach is going to be needed because after further research, we have an unhoused situation here for the equivalent of communities in Colorado of 50,000+ individuals. That is 3 times the population of Los Animas County. This is all based off 2023 point-in-time data once compared.
1 minute, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So The coalition is all for smart, responsible action when it comes to tackling this. However, these issues deserve real solutions that actually work, not just quick fixes that look good on paper, and that reflect the collective community and real-world needs of these individuals. Jumping straight to enforcement, like with the proposed camping bans on today's agenda, without a solid plan for where people are supposed to go or the support they actually need, is not just short-sighted, but it's setting us up for failure. You are putting these individuals further back than what they currently already are if we do this. We need a strategy, not symbolic gestures, that could lead to unintended consequences. So thank you for your consideration of a deferment date or of tabling the ordinance until an actual solution can be brought about. Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Clay Mason.
Good evening. Good evening, Les. How are you? Good. How are you, sir? Brother, if I was anybody, it would have to be two of me. Took my wife 44 years to like one of me. Good evening, council members, mayor. Thank you for letting me speak to you today. I too am nervous, but being a preacher, I'm not supposed to be. So we're just giving it our best shot. Les, I had one that was 8.5 minutes long. I've curtailed it down. This is 3.5, I think. But I'm here to voice strong opposition to the proposed camping ban ordinance. I ask that we pause and reflect not only on the legal and practical consequences of this decision, but also on the moral and the human cost. Let me start with the fundamental legal principle. The 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. Courts have increasingly held that punishing people for sleeping or camping in public places when there is no other viable shelter is a violation of that right. Criminalizing homelessness does not address the root causes of poverty. It merely punishes people for surviving. The Ninth Circuit of Appeals in the Martin versus City of Boise in 2018 ruled clearly, if there is no available shelter, cities cannot prosecute people for sleeping outdoors on public property. Now, I know that the Supreme Court last year, Les, overturned that ruling. And I understand the reasons why. I know why they overturned it in a 2/3 majority vote. But it should be noted that the decision passed down by the Ninth Circuit was rooted in human dignity and the recognition that homelessness is not a crime. It is a crisis, one that demands compassion, not condemnation. This ordinance, as proposed, does not provide housing, does not create shelter beds, it does not expand services. It simply says you can't be here when there's no place else to go. And I ask, what message does that send? Let me share a passage with you from the Bible. I'm a preacher, that's what I do. James, the 2nd chapter, beginning in verse 8 through verse 13. God, through the Apostle James, said this: if you really keep the royal law found in Scripture, love your neighbor as yourself, you're doing right. But if you show favoritism, you sin and are convicted by the law as lawbreakers. Speak then and act as those who are going to be judged by the law that gives freedom. Because judgment, and I want you to pay attention to this, judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who has not been merciful. Mercy triumphs over judgment. And I will tell you this, and amend that, to say that compassion, Paul wrote a letter to the church in Corinth, and what he said in the 13th chapter is that love conquers everything. Compassion rules the day. Our policies should reflect mercy. Our laws should reflect justice. We must love our neighbors, all of them, housed or unhoused, not selectively show mercy based on economic status. Let's remember, homelessness is often a result of systemic, that's a big word, systemic issues. Affordable housing shortages, mental health crises, economic displacement, and the breakdown of the fundamental safety net, the family unit. None of those are fixed with a citation or a jail cell.
1 minute, sir.
When we enforce, I went longer than I thought.
Yes, sorry.
I timed this at home.
Yeah.
When we enforce bans like this one, we're not solving homelessness. We're just making it less visible, out of sight, out of mind, swept under the rug, so to speak, but it is still there. And those living in it are still suffering. Instead of criminalizing survival, let's channel this energy and funding into real solutions. Safe encampments with services, transitional housing, affordable rental units, robust mental health and addiction support, good, stable, well-paying jobs. If we're truly committed to a healthier, safer, and more compassionate city, we cannot meet vulnerability with punishment. We must meet it with mercy and action.
Thank you.
Linda Perry.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to talk with you. It's what an amazing group of citizens you've heard from tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and read this in my nervousness. Thanks for your opportunity to speak, and I urge you to adopt this ordinance concerning park hours and camping. The City of Trinidad's strategic plan adopted by City Council in August of 2024 articulates our collective vision, mission, and strategic priorities for the city. Words included in the plan such as welcoming, safe, and quality of life are among the values that resonate with all of us. Key priorities include economic vitality, increasing tourism dollars, lowering crime rate, increasing residential safety, celebrating through festivals, open spaces, and recreation facilities that are safe and well maintained. To succeed, these priorities require action. Thank you for the investment the city has already done with amenities such as developing the Boulevard Addition and its lovely view of Fisher's Peak. Thank you for the Riverwalk Trail, a place to be out in the sun, awaiting Amtrak Southwest Chief, and public restrooms. I appreciate these investments and feel that this ordinance will help to make these investments count, and that the doors can be opened and the trails and parks safe, and they'll be well maintained and comfortable for all of us to use. Please begin now to address the next steps to be taken. This is only the beginning, because that it does include a location for the unhoused to camp legally and safely, a location for services that can be given, and for food distribution. Thank you for this consideration now to act, to put forth this first step forward solution, to break this difficult logjam of inaction, and in not worrying if it's not doing enough or you should be doing something else first. This is a first step, and thank you for taking it.
Thank you.
After effort, you're up next. And last but not least.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here to lend my support for the camping ban ordinance. I really just want to let you know that I am becoming increasingly concerned with the number of businesses that we are losing in our city. I took a look at the restaurant guide, that is an enclosure in our visitor's guide, and if you start to look at the number of these restaurants that have closed just in the past few months, I counted 7. And another 3 that are either consolidating or moving down the street to what might be perceived as a safer location, and another 3 that are currently listed for sale. These closures are just ahead of what should be our busy summer tourism months. And it's not just restaurants. Other businesses in town are struggling to stay open. This should go without saying, But we cannot project our city as a tourist destination when our own citizens are uncomfortable or even afraid to use our parks, our river walk, and our public spaces. For me, it really comes down to this. I'm worried about the economy in this community. Our tax base will continue to dwindle if we don't do something to clean up our city and address this problem. This is affecting our problem at the college to attract students and to attract faculty. Just an example, I have a new faculty member who is part of our suite of computer information systems and cybersecurity. He's currently commuting from Denver. He was supposed to move here last fall and is hesitant to relocate because of what he's seeing in this community. Therefore, he can't be as effective of a faculty member because he doesn't live here. He's not available for students the way we would expect a faculty member to be available. So it's diminishing the quality of the education that we can provide at the college. While I agree with some of the other presenters that we need to provide a broader array of strategies, a designated campsite, mental health resources, and so on, I don't think we should wait until we have a complete solution, because we'll never have a complete solution. And we won't have the money, we won't have the revenues for the additional resources we need to address the problem holistically until we improve our economy. This ordinance is one tool that will help our law enforcement personnel enforce the law and stop the illegal activities that are diminishing the quality of life for our citizens, hurting our local businesses, and inhibiting our economic growth. I'm asking you to exercise bold leadership, council members. And bold leadership sometimes requires you to make decisions that not everyone agrees with. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Item number 5, council reports. Mr. Chairman.
Nothing for outside of real quick, just Parks and Recreation are excited about pickleball talks, one step at a time. So that's what we got right now.
Mr. Trio?
I'll keep it brief. As planning chambers moving forward, we're seeing the Mile plans. They're all coming together. Senior citizens are really good at the senior center. Checked on them a couple of times. They're doing really well over there. Just enjoying everything. That's all I have.
Mr. Trio?
You don't have anything, you have meetings in May for parking and that stuff.
Mr. DeBoer?
The Veterans Coffee Social will be at the Champions Building on Commercial Street. It's going to be next Wednesday from 10 to 11:30 a.m. And veterans and guests get complimentary drip coffee and tea, compliments of Kangaroo Coffee on Commercial Street. And David Sampson, if you have any questions, you can confer with him. And there's also going to be a veterans art class next Friday, April 25th, from 5 to 6:30 p.m. with Darcy Minsick. It's going to be held at the Mont Carmel Wellness and Community Center in the Garden Room, and you need to register by calling the Mont Carmel Community Wellness Center. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Ogletree?
Arts and Culture Advisory Commission met, and they got an update on the baseball glove sculpture that will be out at the Central Park, and it should be done by opening day, which is June 1st, so we're looking forward to that. It's enormous, and I think a whole team of little leaguers could sit inside. They're putting out their RFP for additional whimsical seating soon, so watch for that local artist. The Golf Association met the other night, and they're real curious to find out what's going to be in the city's RFP. Asked me some questions about that, and I just repeated the things that Mike had shared with them about that it might be a lease, it might be a management, it will be that option. Otherwise, they're just focusing on doing their regular business, and their tournament schedule is high.
All right. Mr. Williamson? He's one councilman that's on via Zoom.
Mayor, I'd like to just apologize for being remote tonight. It was not my intention and well past my control. I will just save my report for when I'm in person for next meeting. Nothing is time dependent. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. I've got 2 letters that I should have written via petitions and communications. But basically, one of them is from Tim Peters. And I think he published this via social media. And he wants a list of our current projects. So we have our interim city manager is gone. He's on vacation. He's not gone, he's on vacation. He's coming back. But he and our permanent city manager hasn't taken her position yet. So I ask your patience in getting this. Some of the information that Bob just gave us tonight kind of outlines what the projects are and what the development of the projects are. So we're moving right along with that. And also I got a letter from the Arbor Day Foundation congratulating Trinidad for achieving the 2024 Tree City USA status. And it's a recognition. I'll give that to you because of the length of the meeting. I'm going to kind of forego that. I had 2 events I attended this week regarding the city of Trinidad. We have the Southern Colorado Work Group from Pinon Canyon Maneuver Site and Fort Carson. They're giving us an update on what's going on down at the maneuver site. And they're also very diligent in what they report to us as far as the maintenance down at the the maneuver site. Trinidad State College had a grand opening at the Frumenthal Memorial Library. It was very well attended. Great ceremony. Thank you, Dr. Edward. It was a really nice event. That's all I have. Item 6, consent agenda. Item 6A, approval of the regular meeting minutes of April 1st, 2025, and special meeting minutes of April 7th, 2025. Item B, approval of a special event permit application, malt, Finest and Spirituous, filed by the Trinidad Los Animas County Hispanic Chamber of Commerce at 201 West Main Street on May 3rd, 2025. Approval of bills totaling $1,187,771.93. Item 6D, approval of payroll, April 12th, 2025 through April 25th, 2025. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Shu. Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Vote?
Second.
Okay. Call the vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Shu,
Oh, yes.
Thurman,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Griego.
Yes, except for I can't approve the meeting minutes of April 1st as I was absent. So I approve the other items. Okay. Item 7A, annexation, Maverick North American. Item A1, public hearing, petition for annexation filed by Maverick Incorporated for the Maverick North annexation. The hearing is now open.
Evening, Mayor and Council. So I'm gonna run through the annexation petition. You guys heard about this concept review. Now here we are, first hearing, so the first reading, yeah. So the Maverick Inc. submitted an annexation petition to the city's clerk office on February 18th, 2025, seeking to annex 18.81 acres off the city's north end, so the city off the north end of the city limits, This annexation includes I-25 right-of-way, the county road 32.4 right-of-way from the I-25 exit to County Road 71-1. That intersection, and then along 71-1 as well. So we're actually a little bit of, quite a bit of right-of-way in this annexation, actually. It's met it has a contiguity, the 1/6 contiguity. There's 3 property owners in the annexation area. Maverick, they own 4.76 acres. CDOT, they own 13.99 acres. And Warren and Patricia McDonald, who own 0.06 acres. Due to Colorado revised statute, CDOT defines the signatory annexation petitions. Mr. McDonald said he'd be a willing signatory on the annexation petition, the annexation and rezone plat, but his signature was not required on the annexation petition itself. The annexation impact report was distributed to all required entities. We had no comment from that. The City of Trinidad has routinely annexed land in corporate limits of the City of Trinidad for the purpose of developing the property. This is in accordance with the city's comprehensive plan. In May of 2024, the city and Maverick executed a pre-annexation agreement. In this agreement, the city committed to serve the development with city water, gas, and sewer. And in this agreement, Maverick committed to petition for annexation when becoming eligible. The Planning Commission, or Planning, Zoning, and Variance Commission reviewed the annexation and rezone and rendered a recommendation of approval with conditions on March 11, 2025. Staff recommends an adoption of an annexation agreement in conjunction with the final annexation hearing on May 6, 2025. All other requirements have been met. And then the last thing about this is the Maverick is being constructed. It has a building permit through Los Angeles County. Their building code is the same as the City of Trinidad's. And they use the same third-party reviewer, which is nice as well. That's all I have on the annexation.
Okay.
I think, yeah, I do have Greg Day and Mr. Carter from Maverick representation for them as well.
Good evening. Thank you. Any questions, comments, public hearing from?
I thought it was a very concise and helpful report, and I recall talking with them at the work session. I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions, just thank you, gentlemen, for investing in Trinidad. Appreciate it.
No questions?
I have no questions. Thank you. We look forward to it getting completed and getting a big old cup of the good ice. So.
No questions.
Mr. Williamson, do you have any questions?
I don't, Mayor. It's nice to see this coming to fruition. Thank you.
I have no questions either. The hearing is now closed. Yes?
Can you open the floor to the public? Ask for public
Oh,
comment.
okay,
I'm
sorry. Anybody in the public, in the audience would like to make any statements, comments about the Maverick annexation? The hearing is now closed. Item A2, resolution setting forth findings of fact and determinations regarding the proposed Maverick North annexation. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, Ms. Ogletree moved and Mr. Shu seconded. Call the vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes. Item 3A, I'm sorry, 7A3, first reading of an ordinance annexing certain territory to the city and setting a hearing date for consideration of a said ordinance at 6 p.m. on May 6, 2025. I need someone to introduce.
I'll introduce.
Mr. Trujillo introduces. I need a motion.
So moved.
Shu, second.
Second.
DeBono. Any questions? No? Okay. Call the vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Griego.
Yes. Item 7A4, public hearing, amending the zone map by establishing the zone classification of certain land annexed into the city of Trinidad to community commercial. The hearing is now open.
Real briefly, Mayor and Council, the site is currently zoned as Ranchette in Los Alamos County. The requested zoning is community commercial. This is consistent with the abutting property that we have our contiguity with. And it's also approved use as a gas station, which we all know Maverick's a gas station. So that's all I have on that one.
Anything from council? Anything from public comment? Okay, the hearing is now closed. Item 7.4A, first reading of an ordinance amending the zone map by establishing the zone classification of certain land annexed into the corporate limits of the city and setting a hearing date for consideration of said ordinance, 6 o'clock on May 6, 2025. I need someone to introduce.
I'll introduce.
Ms. Ogletree will introduce. Is there a second? Trujillo seconded. Call the vote, please.
I'll motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. He made the motion, then we'll
Who did?
He seconded.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
There's many of them on record now.
This is a complicated one. Okay. Call the vote, please.
DeBono.
Yes.
Shu.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes.
Trahell.
Yes.
Ogletree.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
Griego.
Yes. Item 7B, public hearing for consideration of an ordinance establishing and implementing a program to charge mitigation rates for the deployment of emergency and non-emergency services by the Trinidad Fire Department for services rendered by the department. The hearing is now open.
Mayor, council members.
Chief, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing
Good.
tonight? Okay, so we talked about this at the last meeting, and there was a couple of questions that I couldn't answer because I didn't have the information.
Okay.
This company that we're using started in 2006, so they're about 19 years old.
Okay.
They represent 1,900 customers across the United States, and they're the leading provider in incident cost recovery in the nation. So I think that answers all the questions that were posed the last meeting I was at. You were not here. Can I answer anything for you?
Thank you. I did listen to the discussion from Mr. Murphy's tape of this, and that was very helpful, but I did have some other questions.
Sure.
And I don't want to take up too much time, but I
Okay.
just had a few things. I understand that the goal here is to come up with an equitable and fair way rather than raising taxes to increase income for the fire department.
So this is to provide a income revenue for our equipment and our training. That's kind of about as much money as we're gonna get out of this. So it'll give us a little boost because I used to use marijuana money as my funding source for equipment and training. And so this is gonna replace a little bit of that. We still need to come up with another revenue source to fund the fire department that you want in this community.
That's what I was struck with, listening to what you had to say, because the costs that the fire department is saddled with are enormous, and then those come to the city. And I understand the frustration. I still have concerns about doing it in this way, because my general concept, and I think the general concept of most people, is that we all share the risk of terrible things happening to us, or being a victim of a car accident or a house fire. And I have always felt like the appropriate way to do that is for all of us to bear that risk together. And I'm concerned about a system that's going to place burdens on people who are not expecting it, and that they might hesitate to call because they're afraid of getting a bill. And this community, as we are well aware, is very not very wealthy.
And I understand that.
So that's my primary concern. I also don't really understand some of the language in the contract referring to the responsible party, because rather than someone who's at fault in the situation, because someone who's responsible might not be at fault. And if the idea is that you're trying to place the cost involved in something on someone who's at fault, does that mean that the fire department will wait until fault has been determined in a car accident to determine which car insurance company is going to be?
And I think with the police doing their investigation, they would be able to ascertain that pretty quickly.
Well, not really. I mean, who's at fault in car accidents?
We always do accident investigations, right?
Right.
And there's always car 1 and car 2, car 3, car 4, whatever.
Right.
But that car 1 is normally the person that they determine is the actual cause of the accident. And even if I bill, I'm gonna say car 2, their insurance will fight that out and they'll figure it out. I don't think it needs to be on us as a city to figure out. This is more on the insurance companies to figure out that liability and collect their money. And that's what insurance companies do.
I think that's kind of why we don't get involved in this kind of stuff in the first place, because the idea is that we call you, we have a crisis, we call you. We're not thinking, oh, I've got to come across as the party who's not at fault for this.
And whether we bill you and you don't pay, and whether we bill you and you do pay, we're still going to respond to every call for service that we're asked to respond to. And we're going to provide the care and resources that you're requesting at that time. We don't ever like, oh, you're not going to pay, so we're not going to take your call. We don't do that.
I have no doubt that that's true, and I have all complete faith and confidence that your approach to this will be fair and equitable. I don't have any problem with that. I just think that as a general idea, I don't like it. And what I would rather do as a community is look at increasing taxes some other way that's across the board, that addresses everything that you need and everything that the police department needs. I think this is just kind of like a piecemeal thing that's going to be an irritation and a creator of fear in our community about financial ramifications of car accidents and fires. And I don't like that. But I understand why the fire department wants to do it. I understand. I get it.
And remember, we're only billing for illegal fires. We're not billing for structure fires, wildland fires, car fires. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, our main goal is illegal fires.
But it's every single fire, every single car accident that involves y'all taking care of the site.
Yeah, because we have hazmat concerns, we have vehicle extrication. I mean, our extrication equipment, the tools that we tear your car apart to get you out of those, that we just used today, they're $90,000. I mean, and if they break, there's no warranty. So we'll have to replace them as they break. And so this money will be in a pot and we'll be able to fund some of those repair and replacement costs.
Who is going to be overseeing the money that comes in?
That's Cheryl. I'm not in the bookkeeping business.
Okay.
So I couldn't add that to my plate. I wouldn't want her job.
All right, that's a lot of what I was concerned about. Are there any other methods that you all have investigated to increase revenue somehow?
You know, we have talked as city staff. There's kind of like, and I'm looking at like La Junta because they're about the same demographic as us. Their sales tax is 7.9, where ours is 7.4. So we could roughly go up 0.5%, and then we would be kind of even with La Junta on that. And then that 0.5% could be spent on police and fire, more fire than police because I'm the fire chief. And then we looked at a mill levy, but I don't think the mill levy will give us the revenue we need. And then I think Councilman Trujillo and I visited out here. He's looking at a
specialty tax.
Yeah, and you haven't got numbers?
Not yet. I haven't gotten with Cheryl, but it was looking like a 5 to 10% increase on alcohol sales. going towards public safety. So hopefully if that's an idea, we can float around and get some actual numbers. We can see if that'll actually generate enough revenue and help us through.
That's an approach I would prefer. I get something that the mayor said at the last meeting was, well, if we don't like this, or if we get a lot of pushback, I guess we can.
And we can. It's a year-by-year contract that we're making with them.
So that may be a way that I can live with it, but thank you for addressing my concern.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. DeBono?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
I don't have anything, sir. Thank you for digging into all that.
Is there a statistic report set up to back up what Mr. Ogletree was talking about?
With my hearing, I can't hear what you're saying.
Right. Who want to pay their bills or hesitate not to?
There's not.
Okay, just checking. Okay, just want to see.
Did you call me, Mayor?
No.
You can now.
Okay, now.
Okay. I have no questions past what we already had in the work session.
So I keep a close eye on the sales tax revenues, and we're again down first quarter. Can you hear me, Chief?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So that's alarming to me, because that's how we fund the police and the fire department.
Right.
So I think we need to find other ways of revenue. And I think this is probably a good solution for a couple of reasons. The people that are using the service will pay for it, instead of overall increasing everybody's sales tax. Talk about the use tax on the alcohol. You know, that's a big concern as well, because with the import fees, I don't know where that is going to go. But the most important point that I would like to make tonight is we have a fire chief, that I trust you to do the right thing. And I trust you that if you think after 6 months this isn't working, and this is why, that you'll come to us and tell us you've done great things for the fire department, and I don't think this is any exception. I've seen it over and over again in insurance policies. It is the responsibility of the person that does the damage, and it's not based on who gets a ticket. It's the civil liability of that individual. So I say let's give it a shot. I'm really, with the economy as it is, the uncertainty as it is, I do not want to talk about increasing sales taxes right now. Let's give it a shot. You promise us that you'll come back and say, hey, Mayor, it's not working, or hey, Mayor, it's working great.
And I appreciate your statement, and you know that I will.
I know you will. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here backing this up.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it's going as we progress.
I'll bet my money on you, Chief.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, one thing if I could please, Mayor and council members. There is a typographical error in the ordinance as it currently exists. In section 4 of the ordinance, it says not consistent with this section. It should read not inconsistent. Do you see where I am?
No, where are you?
Okay, section 4 of the ordinance, second line down.
Okay. Okay, so it should be
Yeah, it should be not inconsistent.
not inconsistent.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments between audience? No? The hearing is now closed. Item B1, second reading of an ordinance establishing and implementing a program to charge mitigation rates for the deployment of emergency and non-emergency services by the Trinidad Fire Department for services rendered by the department. I need a motion.
So moved.
Trujillo moved.
Second.
Second. Call the vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Ogletree,
With the reservation stated, yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Griego.
Yes. Before I go further in the agenda, I would have to, if you can notice the way I'm speaking tonight, I'm not myself. I've had some health issues. I don't know what it is. That's why I missed last meeting. I'm not usually this tongue-tied. So I apologize if I look like a fool up here. I really am not. My mind is clear. My body is just doing something to me right now that I don't understand. And I think I owe you that explanation. I'm so sorry.
You're doing great, man.
There's something not quite right. We're going to find out. Item C, public hearing for consideration of an ordinance amending section 13.2 of chapter 13 concerning park hours and camping. The hearing is now open. Who's going to, anybody want to speak for or against? Council.
Oh, okay.
I mean, comments.
Okay.
Sorry. See, that's why I gave you that disclosure.
Yeah, I could do both. I think that's what we heard from, I really appreciate everything everyone said. Really well thought through comments. And while this is a privilege to sit in this seat, it's tough making these decisions. My feeling is that, as I expressed the last time that I was involved in a discussion of this, is that we should have an option available for people where they can go. If we don't, we will be creating a crisis for the homeless people in this community. We have a crisis already for all of us, though. And I heard that strongly in everything that everyone said. And I have such frustration about this situation because I want someone to sit down with everyone who's doing these things and go, we want to help you. Stop defecating on our property. I mean, it's really frustrating that there's not just someone in some way communicating. You can't keep abusing the privilege of being here. I live here. I have to obey the laws. We all have to obey the laws of this community. And I want that to be part of this communication of what we're going to do about this ordinance. I want us to have a place where we can say, you are welcome to be in this area of our town, and here are the rules that apply. If you're not willing to comply with those rules, you are free to leave, but there's nowhere else for you to be here. That, to me, makes a ton of sense. Just saying there's nowhere for you to be does not make a lot of sense to me. Although I love the optics of being, strong and taking a bold step, I think it's going to result in some pretty disastrous things. So this is very, very tough. I'm looking forward to how you all are going to work this through in your own minds and hearts.
Mr. DeBoer.
Well, I can commiserate with the business owners. I had a business for 12 years right before COVID, and COVID closed my business pretty much. By Walmart, I experienced the traffic, the setbacks that a lot of the homeless, kind of provided, I guess you could say. And I am a compassionate person, church-going, God-fearing, but I agree with Councilman Ogletree. There has to be some type of precedent, and maybe less for the people that are not aware. Could you add some clarification to the section 13.2 amending of this?
The what section? How it's amending and adding to the existing ordinance. Absolutely, I'd be happy to. The existing 13.2 is very brief. It's a couple of sentences, and it really is a curfew on city parks, that you can't be in the parks like from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m., or you can't be in the parks during those hours. So that is what the existing 13.2 does. And the new 13.2 is what you have before you, which is the proposed ordinance. I hope that helps. I hope that.
Just for the people in the audience or online that are listening.
That's it. Mr. Shu.
No, I think we need to start somewhere, and I think this is a good start. And if it doesn't work, we can work with it and change some stuff. I mean, it isn't set in stone. We could work with the other groups and see if we can get something worked out where we can start. But we need to start somewhere, and we've been talking about this too long. So we really need to get moving on this and then make some amendments or whatever changes we need as it goes.
Mr. Trudeau.
It just baffles me that growing up here, these ordinances were already in place. We went through, we had curfews, we had enforcement. We didn't have any of this problem. We had some, but not much, but there was enforcement. To me, it's really sad that we have to move forward to go to this extreme to actually get everything reined back in. I think somewhere along the line, we may have dropped the ball somewhere. I don't know who would be responsible or what it was, but making this have to be a place that we have to go. And I'm torn between back and forth because inside, I sit back and I look and I sympathize, with everyone that's down there, and we know their heart and their life and what they're doing. And then I sit back and I look at everybody else, and I'm watching them, and I have to sympathize with them because their businesses are being destroyed, their people are being driven away. I spent the day walking downtown doing multiple things, but one of my main things down there was asking questions to the business owners and how they are affected, and I came away with that with an extremely upset stomach, and finding things walking through our community. It's not right. I don't know how we got here, but we need to start going back. We need to figure out what we can do. I know it's gonna be a hindrance for us to move forward on this way to the unhoused population that is out there right now, but hopefully we'll be able to move forward and figure out, actually get established a timeline, a solid timeline of when we can actually start working on the solution, finding maybe possibly if it is an encampment, if it is reaching out to a nonprofit that's willing to bring a shelter here. It's a problem everywhere. It's just here right now. I'm just really disheartened with the status of our city right now because it shouldn't be this way. We didn't grow up this way, and it frustrates me because when we were out there, 10 p.m., a group of kids went home. PD was out there. They were sending us home at a certain time to make sure we weren't on the streets. 12 o'clock midnight, the other group got to go home. And now, there's nothing. I don't see it out there. And I'm not saying that if it's PD's fault or maybe we're short-staffed or what it is, but it's just super frustrating. And I apologize for getting emotional because this does bother me because I love this community. I love all our business owners. I love every single person in this town. I've always tried to be that way. And right now, I'm just really sad in what we're living in. And it's just not right. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Thurman, do you
I
have
have no
any?
questions. I'm gonna let it end on.
Okay. Mr. Williamson, do you have anything?
I'm sorry for the quality of the audio, probably. It's an incredibly tough situation. All of us have care and compassion for fellow humans. In reality, I think that at the base intent, that's what this no camping ban is. I understand that it puts a strain on individuals that are homeless and that are already strained, and it's going to increase workload for people supporting them. However, maybe people that have the opportunity to move to other cities that are not initially from here, where they have some sort of support system they can and move to there and try and regain connection to their initial support systems. And people that are here can hopefully regain and earn back support in the families that they've left behind potentially. And I know there is government help for many of these people, but they have to be willing to take it and abide by the rules that come along with it. I know that is the truth 100%. But the fact of the matter is, the camping ban is in effect motivated out of taking care of individuals. There's roughly 10,000 people that are being extremely adversely affected by this number of people. I think it's incumbent on City Council to proceed. It's a step in the right direction. It's a start, and we can figure out the rest after. It's we have to start somewhere. I think this is a positive start.
That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I have a letter from Cindy Crane. Should I read it? Or it's just a very basic statement saying that she's opposed to the camping ban and that she's a 25-year plus professional practitioner within the homelessness serving sector. But basically, I'll give it to Les, but I think it's nothing that has been said already.
I think as long as you say who it
I
is and what
acknowledge
the
it.
position
It's
is,
Cindy
yes,
Crane.
ma'am.
She is a professional, and she's with the homeless.
Thank you.
You know, the first thing I thought about listening to all of you who were opposing the ban tonight, that you had to state before you started, I am a good person, I have a heart. And that's very sad that we have to say that before we preface our remarks about a situation like this. But how we feel and how reality is at this point in time is two totally different things. I wish I had $3 million. I build a homeless camp myself, but that's not reality. The reality is you see these people that are affected directly for the homeless population. Councilman Ogletree mentioned it. It's one thing to be homeless, but be homeless and lawless is two different things. If you come in our community and you reside in our community and you follow the laws of our community, you're very welcome. If you are not doing that, you are not welcome to defecate on our river walk. I can't tell you how much money we've spent trying, not only Purgatory River, but the city of Trinidad has invested well over $600,000 to try and get that river walk to be a tourist destination. The only thing that most of our revenue around here is through sales tax. And that's what we're trying to improve the community, to increase our sales tax, to make a life that's better for the citizens of the community, and to have a pleasant place for the people that visit, say, gee, I love Trinidad, I want to come back. But this section of our population is not providing any of that to us. So as you know, I have to go back to Councilman Ogletree. You come in, we're more than welcome you to come and do what, be a part of the community. But being part of the community means that you have to obey the laws, and this isn't happening. I'm a block away from Chimino Park, and I see that one area of Trinidad that's gotten so bad and so run down, I go by it 3 or 4 times a day. There's issues that this ordinance will not help. make the situation better. But we cannot wait for Chelsea and your group to get an area for the homeless to congregate and to camp. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I can't see it happening right away. And you gotta look at it at this place, and I'm sorry, I'm taking a lot of time, but if you were a homeless person and you wanted to do your own thing, would you camp down in a place where you could do your own thing? Or are you gonna camp in an area where you have rules and regulations? So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, the only thing we have control over is this is our chicken, this is our egg. You're not to camp and defecate and deface this community. So this is step one. Step two is in your hands, Chelsea, to make it better. And we will help you, whatever you need, within our means, we will help you. But this has got to be a starting point. This is my opinion, so let it be. Anybody else? I think we've heard from the audience, so.
And Mayor, if I could please, I think it would be appropriate for you to give anyone an opportunity to speak on this if they haven't already. I would ask, to your point, and I think that's a very good one, I think council now needs to be mindful of all the people who spoke during petitions and communications and all the comments that you heard from the individuals, both in favor of and against. And I just want to make that, and also the petition for Ms. Rolo that was submitted that will be part of the record.
Okay, anybody want to add anything more? Yes, sir, Mr.
He already spoke, Mayor.
Okay.
And
Just
I'm
one
sorry.
comment. No, okay, no, we're talking about somebody that hasn't spoken.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, this woman has not spoken.
Come on.
If you would please give your name.
My name is Megan Gonzalez.
Megan.
Gonzalez?
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Is there a reason that the bathrooms are locked? I mean, there's new bathrooms on Commercial Street and they're locked. The ones at Kit Carson Park are locked a lot of times because I've been there and not been able to use them. I mean, that could solve a problem with them using the bathroom and where are they supposed to go?
They're locked because the unhoused population destroys them at every opportunity.
We can't keep up with the maintenance. 2 years ago, we rented porta potties because the damage in the permanent bathrooms at Chimino Park it was costing thousands of dollars. So what we did is we put porta potties in. Those were destroyed to the point where the company that owned the porta potty business has refused to rent us porta potties.
Okay.
All right, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else that hasn't spoken? Hearing is closed. Item C1, second reading of an ordinance amending section 13.2 of chapter 13 concerning park hours and camping. And that is the ordinance as amended, correct? With that
Yes,
one?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Shu and DeComo. Call the vote, please.
Mr. Mayor, I had a technical thing that I wanted to ask about on this.
Sure.
So on, I just think it needs some clarification. Under definitions 3.21 D, defining the Purgatory River or Purgatoire River corridor, first of all, we define embankment in section C above that, that says means the wall or bank of earth or stone built or that which naturally exists that prevents the river from flooding an area. And then we go on to define what the corridor is, and that means the portion of the Purgatoire River and its embankments on both sides to the neighboring property line located within the Trinidad city limits. And then we say we're not immediately discernible. The embankment shall be the land area that extends 100 feet away from the edge of the riverbank. Riverbank is being defined next. I think the use of embankment there is confusing. I know it sounds silly, but is what we're saying, are we trying to define what the embankment is in that second sentence of Part D, or where the corridor exists? Because it seems to me maybe we're meaning to say we're not immediately discernible. The corridor shall be the land area that extends 100 feet away from the edge of the riverbank, or shall include the area that extends, because the embankment is what we're saying is an actual thing.
So in C, we're defining embankment. In D, we're defining the Purgatory River corridor. I know I'm probably stating the obvious, and we use the term embankment in that definition.
Excuse me, the first use of embankments in Part D makes sense with Part C, but the second use of embankment in the second sentence doesn't make sense.
Okay, beginning with where not immediately
Yes.
discernible? Okay.
Yeah, it's confusing, to me at least.
I would say the first sentence is the portion of the Purgatory River and its embankments on both sides to the neighboring property line located within the Trinidad city limits, where not immediately discernible, I think that's referring to the property line, the embankment shall be the land area that extends 100 feet away from the edge of the riverbank.
I wasn't really sure what that meant. We're not immediately discernible. I thought that meant if the embankment was not immediately discernible.
I think that's referring to the neighboring property line, so that we have a measurement in lieu of a discernible neighboring property line.
Okay, then I think we should change it to where the neighboring property line is not immediately discernible.
Okay.
I guess that would make.
So really, an example of that would be less where the old Riverside drugstore used to be. The embankment of the river goes up, and that property is right adjacent to that, correct? So is that?
Yes. It would be, I mean, it would be the shorter distance of a property line is less than 100 feet from the embankment. But I think that's fine. We can, it's the same meaning. It's not a substantive modification or change. We could simply insert where the property line is not.
If that's what we're trying to say, I think that would be helpful.
Okay, good. Where the property line is then not immediately discernible. So does everybody track on that?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you. So that too would be as amended.
Okay.
Mayor, please.
All right, where are we? Taking a vote as amended.
Yes, please.
Motion to approve.
You already made it.
Okay, as amended.
Yeah.
All right. Call for the vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Aaron, can you hear us?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes. Item 8, unfinished business, we have none. Item 9, miscellaneous business. 9A, first reading of an ordinance vacating a 60-foot strip of Morris Canyon Road within parcels D and H of the Country Club Ranch filing to the City of Trinidad, Los Animas County, Colorado, and setting a hearing date for consideration of said ordinance on May 6, 2025 at 6 p.m. I need someone to introduce.
I'll introduce.
Mr. Trujillo introduces. Mr. Mason, you're on it today.
Yes. Definitely am. So I'm going to preface this by saying that the applicant for this has a major impact application for subdivision and rezone. I think we had a concept review 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago. So that's going to become to a future, but this is kind of a cadence thing where we have a platted right-of-way in Morris Canyon that needs to be vacated prior to them moving forward on their subdivision. So with that, this is a touch confusing. Please bear with me and ask questions if I confuse you too much. But the portion of Morris Canyon Road requested to be vacated is not an actual location where its as-built is. It was platted a different route into the lots that the developer is looking at subdividing. So with that, the applicant is going to assist the city in platting the as-built alignment for Morris Canyon Road. And in return, the city is going to be deeding the previously platted right-of-way back to the applicant because they're owner of both sides of the vacate. This will allow Red Tier Holdings to plot the southern extent of Morris Canyon Road in their future application. The city wishes to assist the developer by quitclaiming the unused right-of-way of Morris Canyon Road back to the owner of the said property. And then I will say this as well, the previous platting error was caused by the past developer, so it's not actually caused by this developer, it's a past. This vacated section of the platted right-of-way is necessary to create a new legal description for the subdivision. And then they will plat back the Morris Canyon so we have official access to the school, everything else. In the end, this is just a platting error, a misplat when the school's platted. We didn't require them to plat the road. They should have, because that was their as-built location. So this vacate helps Durant Ventures, Red Tier Holdings, same group there, to move forward with their major impact application, plat the road back to us correctly. That way we have access, utility easement, all that good stuff. Like I said, that's going to become a future application, but the cadence of this has to be the vacate has to be completed first. And then last thing, the planning commission made a recommendation of approval for the vacates at the April 8th, 2025 regular meeting. That's all I have. Any questions?
Mr. Thurman.
Well, you answered the question. I was going to ask about utilities, but all that's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we discussed this in the work session, so
Yeah.
you answered all my questions, and so thank you so much.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you again for your consistency.
No questions, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. As Mr. Trujillo, Councilman Trujillo mentioned, we went through this in a work session. Okay.
Mayor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I know I'm very disruptive this
No.
evening, I don't mean to be. There are a number of typographical errors in this. I don't know if you have this at your sitting places. We need to correct a couple of typos. That will be done, there is nothing substantive. Just so you know, there were a few typos in case council noticed those that will be accurately reflected for the, pardon me? For the publication, exactly. And also the second.
All righty.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Excellent.
Item 9B, first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 13.
Mayor, we need a motion for.
Oh, I'm sorry,
First
okay.
reading.
I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Is that you, Thurman? Call the vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes. Item 9B, first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 13 Parks and Recreation of the Trinidad Municipal Code by adding new Section 13-4 concerning regulation of certain commercial recreational activities and work in and on the Purgatory River corridor and amending and renumerating the penalty clause for violations, and setting a hearing date for consideration of said ordinance on May 6, 2025 at 6 p.m. I need someone to introduce.
I introduce.
Thurman introduces. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Do we have any discussion on this one?
I thought some compelling concerns were raised in public comment, and I do kind of need to have this explained to me again to understand why we need it.
Well, here's the man that's going to come up.
All righty then.
Mayor, Council, good late evening. What are your questions, I guess? Or do you want me to
Well, just
kind of
generally,
explain?
what's the point of this? And what
So-
are we trying to accomplish?
So this is similar in other city ordinances that have been adopted to manage the use of city assets and resources. Similar to park permits, event permits, just there needs to be a means whereby we can manage the river. And this probably should have been done back in 1966 when we first made an agreement with the Water Conservancy District and how we were going to maintain the agreement that we had with them as far as maintaining the river corridor. It never really happened, but now as things have begun to evolve as far as the development on the river with recreation, just general river improvements, this is something that'll help us move forward, not just now, but in the future as we expand and promote our outdoor recreation assets and develop the river as an outdoor recreation destination. To have this to help us basically manage that development and manage that use. And so that's the purpose of this, similar to, as I said before, other ordinances that have been established to manage our resources.
Could we eliminate from coverage or the need to get a permit groups like the Purgatory River Watershed Group who's doing work already that we don't have a concern about? I mean, why are we planning to charge them money to do this, or?
More than anything, the permitting process isn't necessarily as a revenue generator. It's just to be sure that everything that's happening in the river is in accordance to what we as a city want to see happen. And part of it, big of it, is insurance. Right now, things are happening on the river that we don't know, that we would be liable for. So we don't know if people have insurance, we don't know what kind of insurance they have. If something were to happen, immediately that'll fall upon the city as the property owner, the resource owner. So this helps establish those protocols and procedures to be sure that regardless whether it's fishing or fish habitat construction, everybody's playing on the same field.
Did we talk with the various users that we're aware of now before we put this together? Have we gotten input from them on it?
We took this to the Purgatory River Water Conservancy District. We presented it to them. We did go to their last meeting, and it wasn't an agenda item to be discussed. They were able to make questions or have questions and suggestions. One of the suggestions was that as water users, that they be exempt from things that they had to do in order to get their water, which was changed and added to the ordinance, because absolutely this is not in any way intended to affect water conveyance, water rights, water usage. This is much more just a property management ordinance to help us manage that resource.
And what do the permittees get from us? As Mr. Lopez asked that question, he's a commercial operator, so he would be paying a fee. What would they get?
A lot of it is access to city property to do their business. And that's our general use. Like when we close a street for an event, we give that individual or that company, whoever it is, specific right to use that street blockage for that time. This is what we would be giving Mr. Lopez, if we're using him as the example. He gets the ability to use the city or the city with the river for that specific purpose. And he has insurance, we know that it's happening, everything is taken into consideration. A lot of it just to cover the city and our liability, because that is happening.
It's like
Mayor,
an HOA.
I'd also like to ask Gil Ramirez to come up and help answer questions regarding this. He's very familiar with our water rights, with the river corridor, and with the organizations that have helped to build assets in the river. So, Gil,
Sure,
if you
Mr.
would
Ramirez, we didn't want
come
your
on up as
evening
well.
to go to waste. So we'd like to hear from you. Come on up, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Questions?
Well, you heard the ones that I asked, and you heard Mr. Chatterley's response. Did you have anything else to offer?
Well, I look at this from the water rights point of view and the city's water resource. In '66, we signed an agreement with the Purgatory River Conservancy District that allows us to store our water rights in Trinidad Lake. One of the conditions of that agreement was maintaining a corridor to move stormwaters through Trinidad. And just so you understand, those stormwaters do not belong to the city of Trinidad. They belong to farmers and the state of Kansas out east. Those are junior water rights that belong to somebody else. We're not allowed to keep them here. We have to release them within one working day. Maintaining that channel is what allows us to store our water in Trinidad Lake. I've been here and I've talked about exchange agreements, moving that water up to North Lake and Monument Lake and reusing our water resource. From my point of view, most of the ordinance doesn't really, it's not my vein, but it's assuring that we maintain that agreement, which is very favorable for the city, and it's about our water future. Yeah, and I just, we need to assure the Corps, the state of Kansas, state of Colorado, the Bureau of Reclamation, that we are in compliance with that agreement. That's how we store
And water. that's how you see that, this doing that.
Yes, and from my point of view, this is not intended to stop any kind of activity. It's just making sure that we maintain that channel and we maintain that agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. DeBono, do you have any questions?
No, just thank you for clarifying that, Gil.
No, Gil.
Not for Gil, but Mr. Charlie, I just have a question. I see the need for it completely. I think it needs a lot of fine tuning before we move forward. We have no schedule of fees on here to kind of know what we're going to be charging the permits. I'm not clear on our nonprofits and volunteers that are going out there. Are they going to be charged? For doing a service for us, something that we're not able to do ourselves. Is there going to be a waiver process? I still think we need a work session with the community on this to kind of figure out how we can get it completely fine-tuned where everyone's on the same page. It is a small group. It's not like we're working with like 80 different organizations that we couldn't get full input and get a clean ordinance. Because I really would hate to have to revisit this in another 2 years where we find something wrong, or somebody didn't find something that they needed, or somebody's upset and we're no longer getting assistance. Because it wouldn't take much for, Purgatory Watershed to go through and say, hey, we're tired of going through this, we're done. And then it is all on our hands. Because they are providing us a massive service because we don't have the manpower to constantly be down there. So I still think we just need some more fine tuning on it. Thank you.
So I was saying it's more like a HOA for the
river.
For the river, right?
That'd be one way to look at it.
Right, just to make sure everything's maintained properly, and it's like a checks and balances kind of thing.
Very much so. It's like I said, similar to a park, similar to, like I said, as our city streets. is just a way to manage the city resource. And without an ordinance to do that, we really don't have any means.
Right.
Just like we talked about camping for a long time. Without a camping ordinance, it's difficult to enforce, manage, whatever it is, the resource
Kind
we're
of
trying
like
to
a
use.
middleman between the city and the, I guess, the police department, kind of.
Mr. Williamson, do you have any questions or comments?
Mayor, I appreciate it. I don't have questions. I appreciate all the work that the staff has done on it. It's been considerable. I would say, I would earnestly request, please, we have 2, I believe, potential dates for work session between now and when this is on for the second reading. And I would say that people listening tonight may make the argument that this is somewhat potentially hypocritical, I hate that word, on my part, or not defensible, in the sense of we didn't have on our request for a work session for the camping ban, and I can articulate why I think that's defensible. However, I do think it would be positive to have a works. Am I still on? My side's frozen.
You're on. You're on.
Okay. I do think that it would benefit the entire process to have a work session where stakeholders, and I know it gets messy and long, and I apologize to everyone for that on a night that's already been long. But if we can put it together with all the stakeholders that are involved and run concerns to ground, they may be more fully eliminated and addressed. And in the end, I think that will form a stronger partnership for the HOA that's going to be in existence. I think that it would be beneficial. I would just strongly request that work session. That would be my input, Mayor.
Okay. Last, me.
Mayor, yes.
Yeah, me, in my debilitated state here tonight. I think I'm the only one that was on council when we started the Riverwalk project. Is anybody, you were there? Were you down at the meeting at Chimino Park? I mean at Club 14 when we first started? Well, what our purpose is to use the river, especially by Chimino Park, as a recreation area. We're trying to enhance that area. We also put a lot of money onto the planning of that Riverwalk project. So the only reason that this has come to light is in the process of developing that, we have some weak spots. We have some vulnerabilities that we have to shore up in order for our project to continue on. And so I asked this ordinance, I think it was Mr. Lopez that mentioned something that we should wait for the city manager. But it was I asked staff to put this on the agenda in a work session before, because this is the next step to completing the Riverwalk project. Okay, so we've got, Ms. Knudsen said that there's something like 2 or 3 entities that have money and are doing projects in that river, but the one she forgot to mention, the biggest stakeholder of all this is the city of Trinidad. And I think we have spent to this point about $600,000, I mentioned it before, in the Riverwalk project. So in order to get the grants that we need, in order to proceed with the financing we need for that Riverwalk project, these entities that are giving us this money has to make sure that we are maintaining the integrity of that channel. Has nothing to do with Carlos Lopez, only to the point is, I'll give you my insurance agent. reasoning behind it, which is not sometimes reasoning at all. So let me give you the scenario. Mr. Lopez goes down there with his fly fishing people, and he hooks somebody with a hook. I'm telling you, I'm preaching to the choir. These guys don't know. If we don't ask Mr. Lopez, do you have insurance in case somebody gets hurt on that property? Well, guess who's going to be a co-defendant in a lawsuit? It's going to be the city of Trinidad. So it's basically, we want the Trinidad Youth Club to go down there. We want anybody to enjoy it. It's our river, but unfortunately we have to put down these safeguards to make sure that we aren't in jeopardy. And the biggest part of all this is we have to make sure that all the time, all the money, it's been every bit of 6 years. You probably might be I can't remember, but 6 years on this project. We're having a meeting tomorrow to figure out what step 2 is. So I think it's imperative that we do this. It has nothing to do with people that are enjoying the river. We just don't want somebody to go down there on city property and build a lemonade stand right in the middle of a $6 or $7 million project. Basically, that's what it boils down to. Did I say it in layman's terms?
You said it very well. And as, like I said, that applies to all our city resources. That's
Yes.
why we have ordinances and permits in effect to protect us, just as you stated.
Yes.
And this is just another city resource we're trying to protect.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ramirez, do you have a question?
Not a question, just another comment. You mentioned liability. One of the things I always think about, and people get tired of hearing this from me, but once you build a project, no matter who builds it, and I represent PWP for the city, I'm your representative, so I'm in favor of a lot of what they're doing, almost all of what they're doing. But once we build it, everybody takes a nice photograph and they walk away. That's day one for O&M. And I think this permit process will allow us to determine, first of all, at whose cost. If you build a project down there, who's going to take care of it? And I referenced Monument Lake. If we allow a leasee to place a building on our property, it becomes our property. And so the O&M becomes ours. If we allow structures, or I think this permit process will define that for us. It will, because O&M can overtake capital costs just like that if we don't have input. And we want to make sure these are built so that they can be maintained properly, so they don't go by the wayside and then it becomes another huge capital project. They have to be built so that we can maintain them.
May I have just one other thing? I think the permitting process also will act as a records location where we actually have the records of where these improvements have been made and what it entails for future improvements then. Because we have already these improvements that are in that river. We don't really, and I can't say we don't really have that now, but we don't have a location for all of those types of records now. So even as this river project moves forward, we will need the coordination from Child Unlimited and PWP to provide the records of what work has been done. With the permitting process, we actually will be a depository of those records. Secondly, City Council will set fees. It will be a part of the fee resolution that you'll be considering at the upcoming work session. So it's totally within your hands to set fees, to waive fees, however you want staff to handle it.
Thank you.
What's the concept behind how long these permits are good for? Do we have any sense of that? Does it depend on the applicant? Like if someone comes and says this is going to take a year, can we do that? A year?
It would be a coordinated effort, yes.
Okay.
The permit is basically, again,
an information exchange that we don't, some people on staff have, but not, it's not, for instance, Mr. Ramirez is our representative with PWP. Karen Wolf works directly with them a lot. But the information isn't always necessarily carried all the way up to the city manager level or our planning department or our water department, our recreation department. It's that coordinated effort that we're lacking, and we're just trying to build on that. We're not trying to harm anybody in their efforts or take away anybody's efforts, impose any restrictions on them that they don't already have. Like Mr. Lopez, for instance, he's already required to carry insurance as an outfitter. He has that. We would be a certificate holder. That's it. And I think for his purposes, he came to city council at one point and asked for permission to outfit on the river.
Right.
We don't technically own the river. We didn't grant a permission, but now through this, we can grant a permit to him for him to be able to provide those services on the river.
I'd like
It
to
makes
say,
it a lot clearer even for him.
he was very surprised too when he found out there was not a permitting process for activities on the river. And it really took some convincing to tell him that there was no permitting process at the time. Yeah.
To echo them, this is not original for Trinidad. Most communities that have a river that is part of their community has some sort of river ordinance that helps manage the use of that resource.
May I ask?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think, I know it just keeps sounding like we're going around like this is, it's a negative thing. I don't think anybody that spoke from the audience today actually said anything about it being negative. They wanted to be consulted.
Sure.
And I don't see that there's a problem with that at all. You know, having their input, because community input, especially in the group that we have, I think we should seek that out, get their input, see if they're all on the same page, and then bring it to us. Because like I said, Councilwoman Ogletree's questions are coming from something that doesn't exist in here because it's not there. So we're not as fine-tuned yet. And I know this is just the first reading, the set of hearing, but I think we have some things that we can probably work on. Hopefully by the next, if we go through with this portion, by the second reading, we can look at and say we have a very clean ordinance, everything's set up. We've consulted with the community, because I think we should, really honestly should on this one. Because we're in the beginning stages. This is like pioneering for us at this point on this one, because we've never done it.
Absolutely right. I mean, I am not in disagreement.
Yeah, so like you said, I don't think anyone is not in favor of this permitting process. I think it's a great idea. We should. We have to have a calendar. We need to know where people are. You know, we don't want a kayak coming down the river and a fly fisherman tournament happening at the same time, because that would just be really interesting if it was. You know, but this way we can avoid that. But I think what we're trying to get at is, for myself, I would really like us to reach out to the community and talk to those people, come back to us and let us know, let me know where we're at. That would make me feel way more comfortable, say, we're all on the same page here. We've got it clean and we move forward. But I don't think it needs to be months from now. You know, this can happen soon. You know, I mean, it's just the idea of just need to consult with them is my feelings on it. If anyone else, that's all I got.
Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Shu, second?
Second.
Call vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes. Who did this, who did this agenda?
Yeah.
I know.
It's like,
Yeah, that's brutal.
you're hard on an old lady, guys. Item 9C.
Yeah.
First reading of an ordinance for consideration of a vacation of right-of-way portion of Alley A and for acceptance of a dedication of land for Lot 5, Lot 114 of the original town site, City of Trinidad, Colorado, 81082, and setting a hearing date for consideration of said ordinance on May 2nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. I need someone to introduce.
I'll introduce it.
Sure.
Doesn't matter what he, go ahead.
Okay, I'll put shoe is smaller than oak tree, so it's- Okay. Mr. Mason.
Last one for me at least. So this is another application for vacate. This is another kind of collaborative effort between the city and the applicant. So as the Public Works Director, Bob just mentioned earlier, there's a project going out for LEA. So this vacate is actually kind of part of the project. It helps clean up some of the access issues around LEA. I hope, is everybody clear on LEA? Yeah? Okay, good, because if not, then I'm just talking totally. So at least we're in the right vicinity. But in the end, we're trying to vacate, let me see, 1,233 square feet of LEA. That's the part of LEA that's actually improved with a parking lot. It's right behind the Champions building. You know, if you know the alleyway there. So it's been improved already for the parking lot. So in return, we're going to be dedicated 1,671 square feet. And that's going to be the access into the parking lot off of Convent, yes. So we're getting that in return. And it's a way for us to keep access to our alleyway, not having to improve something that's already been improved with a parking lot. This is like I said, it's a collaborative effort between Mount Carmel, Health, Wellness, and Community Center, and the city. Just trying to get us usable access and get them assurance that their parking lot's going to remain a parking lot, basically. They're improved part of the LEA. So that's all I got. I can answer questions. Any confusion you got, I'm here for it.
I'm good.
Good.
Nice.
No questions, thank you.
No. Oh, me? Sorry.
Yeah.
No questions, thank you.
No questions.
Mr. Williamson, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, thank you. So this is part of the LEA improvement?
Yes, so we're doing some improvements. We're getting the right of way, the kind of the entryway off of Convent there. That way it can be public access. We're going to do some improvements. I think there's going to be a trash receptacle kind of in the corner at the kind of back. So that gives the trash company access,
Okay.
legal access, which is a big thing. We're also going to do some stuff with our utilities in there a little bit. So
It's crazy how so many imperfections that prior generations did with plating and everything, and we're getting surprises all over the place.
it's not an imperfection. It's just this is a better use for what was originally platted. So
All righty, sir.
yeah, thank you.
Call the vote, please. No, wait, I'm sorry. I got it. I need a motion.
So moved.
Ms. Ogletree, is there a second?
Second.
Call the vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes. Down to the last one. Item 9D, consideration of the request for qualifications and proposal submitted by Grand Lines Skate Parks Incorporated for the Skate Park Project 15-2424 in the amount of $114,264.56. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Who made the motion? DeBono?
Oh, here.
Sorry, the long name.
Okay, Ogletree and Shu. All I can see is hallelujah.
Hello again, Mayor, Council. We will be in the morning, I can say good morning.
Yeah, that's right.
We still got the hours to go.
That's right.
Anyway, I come before you tonight in consideration of we've got two requests for qualifications and proposals for the repair of the skate park. One was from Grindline Construction and the other was from Mark Valley Construction. In our proposals, we asked for a fee estimate. We put together a bid schedule of approximate quantities of the repair. And the second page, it's contained in your packet, shows that the grind line was at $114,264.56, where Ark Valley Construction was considerably higher at $349,704.80. What I can say about this project is Grind Line has a familiarity with it. They looked at it and bid the project originally. They were not the low bidder the first time around, but they do have a sense of familiarity. They designed the park originally, and they also came down and looked at it when we were looking at repairing it. So with that being said, I think they do have a good feel for what needs to be done. Questions?
We'll start with you, Mr. Williamson.
I have no questions. This has been a long time coming. I think that we should proceed. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Ms. Ogletree.
There's a huge difference in some of the unit cost on things like grinding of concrete and re-welding seams. Do you have any idea why they're so divergent that way?
Honestly, I do not. Like I said, Ark Valley's looked at this twice now. Excuse me, Grind Line has looked at this twice. So why Ark Valley is, and some of their numbers, Ark Valley, are cheaper than.
Yeah.
We don't dictate means and methods, a lot of, so we leave, this project, we looked at experience with skate parks. And I didn't look, Ark Valley's got a lot of experience with buildings and do a great job, but as many skate parks they've done, I'm not sure. Grind Line, that's all they do, the skate parks.
And you're confident that they can do this job?
I am.
Okay.
Mr. DeBoer.
Maybe Ark Valley has not done any skate parks, and that's why their bid is 3 times higher, so they probably don't want to do it. But no, let's move forward. Yeah.
No questions, Paul?
No. Are you gonna get on the skate park?
Yes, he's got his.
I would love to, but at my age, I'd be probably out down some outfield fixing a broken bone.
It's the longboards, is what you're saying, so they won't get in the air, so it just stays on the ground.
That's a young man's game.
Some question.
Don't say that to the people that use that
I
skateboard
know,
park, because they're in
It's
their
true.
50s and
That's me and you.
Still, you're gonna get hard even no matter what age you are, right?
yeah. Well, I'm assuming that the skateboarding community is happy with this.
I would assume so.
I would assume so, because this is the company that built the skateboard park, and this is the company that they were voicing their opinions that they wanted him to do this project. So I'm glad. You can tell by the number of the project, 2024, we've been on this one for a while. So that's why I spoke out of turn and said hallelujah, because this is one of those that is crazy. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Call for the vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trehill?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Grego?
Yes. Item number 10, reports by city manager and city attorney.
I have nothing this evening.
Okay.
Mayor, council members, the only thing I want to report on is the fact that we did get a default judgment on my litigation. And so on the request to declare 508 University a nuisance, it was a district court lawsuit, filed that, did everything, and there was no answer. But anyway, got a default judgment that came in today. So that is done essentially, and we accomplish what we set out to do. So I think that's going to be easier for us when we do go to abate or remediate that nuisance property. The city can do it since there is no one to be responsible for that property. There is another property matter that I mentioned in correspondence to you that I don't want to report on yet because I don't want to say anything until the ink is dry on that agreement. But if you haven't looked at your emails, please do. And anyone who wants a hard copy or can be briefed by nephew DeBono. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That can happen. So anyway, but that's all I have. Thank you. You know what I mean.
All right.
Thank you.
Let me finish the sentence before you make a motion here. Item 11, adjournment, motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Quit being a motion hog.
Nobody wants to say anything.
Call the vote, please.
Bono?
Yep.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree? Yes.
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, he's gone.
Grego?
Yes. Thank you, guys.
That's not fair.